Hey everybody, welcome back to Majestic Collectibles. So this is I guess the dreaded eBay video about the user agreement here. I've just got it in front of me. First things first, I am not an attorney or a lawyer or anything like that, and please do not make poor life choices based on some guy's YouTube video that sells comics on eBay. Probably not a great idea. So getting that out of the way, first of all, I didn't even know this dropped. I was on my way to the Sioux Falls, QuadCon Sioux Falls, and I got back really like midnight, early morning on Easter Sunday. And then I talked to my friends, Coley Collectibles, that night after supper. And they says, "Hey, did you see this user agreement thing?" I'm like, I thought it was something that came out maybe a month or so, or something I missed. And I guess it just dropped on the 17th of April, 2025, to put it in perspective if you're watching this down the road. And they said, "Well, we didn't know if we could. We wanted to opt out. We didn't. It didn't look good. What do you think?" And so I says, "Well, I'll check it out." I was no knowledge of it. So I did. So I went to eBay, and it's under, I got to click back and forth because, I'm technologically disabled basically here. It's under the selling announcements, wherever you put that on your eBay, my eBay page, right at the top, or at least it was when I clicked on this. And they have this nice little thing about user agreement. Thanks for being part of eBay. And then you go to the user agreement update. The mobile application terms of use is, man, this is just, ugh. I hate reading legalese. But basically, they've got a new user agreement out. And what they want you to do is they want you to go to arbitration instead of basically joining a class action lawsuit or suing them directly yourselves. And this, of course, is all advantageous to eBay, which I haven't seen a corporation put out any type of user agreement that is not in their favor. So nothing shocking there, right? And the first thing I thought of is, eBay. What have you guys been doing, man? You got something coming up we don't know about? A class action lawsuit? Somebody's going to sue you directly? Seemed very odd to me. I guess I didn't really understand why all of a sudden this arbitration thing was necessary, because, they do it to save money, and they also do it to add extra steps and hope whoever's mad at them or trying to sue them or whatever gets tired and bored and runs out of money and quits. So they just add a bunch of extra steps and barriers in. Again, not terribly unusual for corporations and things. So as far as that goes, it's pretty much stock, I guess, or average or typical. So it really goes on, though. It gets interesting just reading through this. The second section is eBay is a marketplace that allows users to offer, sell, and buy goods and services in various geographic locations using a variety of pricing formats. eBay is not a party to contracts for sale between third-party sellers and buyers, nor is eBay a traditional auctioneer. So, okay, kind of leading off on disclaimers on what eBay is and isn't, which I don't know at this point. Something must have changed, and we'll get to that in a little bit, because I was not aware of this when I started reading this. But I wanted to go through my thought process was, why would eBay need to define or redefine itself? So I thought that was really, really interesting on this. Kind of the, at your own risk, buyer beware, no warranty expressed or implied, that kind of thing. Okay, Section 3, connecting, in connection with using or accessing our services, you agree to comply with this user agreement. Okay, nothing unusual, and it goes through a lot of very common things. If you don't pay, fraud, illegal activities and things, they're gonna take away your privileges to be on there, and that makes perfect sense. I don't think anybody's going to really argue with that. They talked a little bit about export or re-export of any eBay application tool. I don't know exactly what they're going for, other than it must be a third-party service. They're protecting their proprietary software and systems, so it doesn't get hijacked, or you hijack it. So in other words, you're not breaking into their eBay system and rewriting the code and things like that, and then pawning it off, kind of deal. Again, pretty standard stuff. I don't think a lot of this is going to apply directly to me or the vast majority of eBay sellers at this point. So again, it's pretty standard fare. If you're in violation, basically they can your account. This one probably does apply. It comes up from time to time. It's been a problem for day one, really. If we believe you are violating our policies prohibiting offers to buy or sell outside of eBay, you may be subjected to a range of actions. And basically, if somebody contacts you on eBay, you're going through the message system and said, hey, I'll buy this for X number of dollars. You want to get rid of the eBay fees, just send me an invoice on PayPal or Venmo or whatever, and we'll just, go around to eBay. And that's something that, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be really hard for them to police, and I understand why they do it. But stopping it and catching it, if somebody really knows what they're doing, I think that's going to be tough for eBay. So this is just kind of protecting them there, and I don't blame them for that at all, because that defeats the whole purpose of being there if they just do the end around, right? This is where I kind of thought things were getting a little interesting here. And this is where the light bulb, now low wattage, okay, so not LED, we're talking like, a couple of watts here at the most. Vehicle purchases and sales. And eBay Motors is huge for parts and for, a lot of people to sell actual vehicles and things on there. But this is what I was not aware of. As it relates to vehicle listings, eBay Secure Checkout is powered by and made possible by the services of Caramel Dealer Services, LLC. I'm like, okay, who is this Caramel? So when you use eBay Secure Checkout to purchase or sell a vehicle listed on eBay sites, you're contracting with Caramel Dealer Services. And it appears here, and I did research just a little bit, Caramel is an eBay affiliate that holds state licenses as a used vehicle dealer in Arizona, California, Florida, and Texas. And it seems that eBay is, I don't know if it's a wholly owned subsidiary or exactly what is going on here, but evidently eBay now owns all or part of this Caramel Dealer Services. They purchased, I don't know, all of it or some of it. And then it goes on to say how eBay is not a vehicle broker, vehicle dealer, agent on behalf of this. So there are a lot of disclaimers that they are not a used car or any type of car dealership. And this was interesting to me. So this is something obviously in some way, shape, or form, they must be trying to really boost the eBay Motors, which is a lot of money there. Used cars aren't cheap, right? And so I don't know. This to me, at first, when I first read this, I'm thinking, eBay, what have you been doing? But now, after seeing this, I think this user agreement is more forward thinking of things that are coming up, primarily to do with car sales. And there's a lot of different laws, regulations, and things, especially when you start going across state lines. I'm guessing that's why they picked out Caramel, because they are evidently a registered dealer in some pretty big car states: Texas, Florida, California, Arizona. Whether this is going to be classic cars, new cars, used cars, I have no idea. I don't have any idea. But it does kind of explain this user agreement in general, right? As to why they got to do this, because they're obviously going to be doing something pretty soon with ramping up car sales on their website. And it just goes on. You agree it's at your own risk. Again, no warranty expressed or implied. So what format this is all going to take, they're kind of laying the groundwork here. So when they expand on this, which I'm guessing is coming up fairly soon, they've kind of got this groundwork covering their own rear end on it. Nothing unusual, but it kind of does help explain the arbitration, because usually arbitration, it's kind of that, I guess, middle ground sort of thing where, there's a pretty hefty dollar amount, but maybe not enough to get a class action or go after directly and blah, blah, blah. But they're dealing with higher dollar stuff, and anybody that's been around vehicles, some of them just don't work right. Some of them have a lot of problems. I mean, you're going to get a lemon, you're going to have problems with them. So eBay really seems to be going out of its way to make sure everybody knows they are not a car dealer. Okay, they're just a facilitator, like they are in everything else, collectibles and stuff. Fees and taxes, I'm just going to skip that because it just gives me a headache. Listing conditions, this goes back again that if you're listing it, it's all on you. eBay, has no expertise or no warranty, no anything. The accuracy is all on the lister. So they're just trying to, bail out on that. I'm going to skip the international. Intellectual property violations. So again, this has been a big problem. That's verified rights owner. That's Vero. If you're selling counterfeit, whatever. A lot to do with clothing, luxury goods, watches, jewelry, stuff like that. This is interesting. So authorization to contact you, recording calls, analyzing message content, which I'm guessing is a lot of just AI stuff. Again, not unusual. It's something they've been doing anyway. But it talks about service providers, which I'm guessing they farm a lot of this out to third parties for customer service or customer disservice, depending on your your experiences and your point of view. Just saying they're going to have your number and things. I mean, this thing, it just rambles on and on. Payment services, I'm skipping that. Disclaimers of warranties, that's part 16. That's got a lot to do with everything they sell, but I would bet the cars are a big part of that. It talks about some disputes, indemnities, legal disputes. What's interesting here is that with this arbitration, there's kind of a 45-day cooling off. They soften up their language a little bit to say, "Hey, give us a chance to make it right without suing us." I don't buy that for a second. Kind of thing. I'm not. I don't know. To me, they're just changing their language a little bit and hope you just ignore this and don't opt out. So a waiver of class and representative actions on non-individualized relief. Again, a bunch of legalese there. But it means you won't join a class action or a collective lawsuit of some sort. And you waive your rights to any dispute be brought, heard, administered, resolved, or arbitrated on a class collective. So basically, they're trying to protect themselves here against class action lawsuits as much as possible. Why? Well, I mean, it's good standard business practice. You still kind of wonder, though, what would bring this on all of a sudden, on this focus on class action. So whether there's something coming down the pipeline, I don't know. I have I have no idea. It's pure speculation. So it may just be covering the rear end, but I don't know. I don't know why it's coming up now, right? And it just, man, it has a bunch of subcategories. Opt-out procedures. So here's some heavy-handed legalese. It's bold because, they want you to see it for a couple of reasons, I think. You can choose to opt out of this agreement to arbitrate opt-out by mailing us a written opt-out notice. The opt-out notice must be postmarked no later than the effective date of the amendment or 30 days from the date you first accept this user agreement. You must mail the opt-out notice to eBay, and that's out in Utah. For convenience, we are providing an opt-out notice form. So this form, I've been on the forums, has caused a little bit of controversy because it indicates that if you opt out, you'll lose your account. It doesn't really say that, okay? It does imply that, but what it really says is that if you want to, you can also opt out. If you don't want to send them the written notice or the form, you can opt out by basically canceling your account. And I don't know if this is not written this way in accident. I don't believe that for a second. So to me, a lot of people are going to read that and they're going to like, oh, I don't have a choice. If I opt out, they're closing my account. It doesn't really necessarily say that in those words, but it does kind of imply it. And there's some debate online. There's an opt-out notice link. I'm looking at the link right now for this form. But some people on the forums have said that there's a different form other than the one it's linked to. And there's two forms, and one basically says you'll close your account, the other one doesn't. I don't know if that's true, but that's what's been going around on the net, and I have not had time to look into that. But if you are planning on opting out, I would do your due diligence and kind of follow this closely and just make sure whatever form they want you to send, that you look at it very carefully so it doesn't come up in May. I think it's around May 16th or so that basically you have to have a lot of this taken care of. They have to get the notice. So I would say, hang on to that. Put that in your pocket before you get too trigger happy, and just kind of do a little more research on this opt-out thing and make sure you do it right if you're planning on keeping your eBay account. So that's kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm not surprised. If you wonder what the corporate overlords of eBay really think of their sellers and their customers in general, saying, hey, if you just want to leave and opt out by not being an eBay member anymore, go right ahead. So it kind of pretty much tells you how much they value, right? So ouch, I guess we all kind of pretty much knew that. It's not really a startling revelation, but it does sting a little bit, right? When it's in black and white, that basically you can hit the highway and we're good with that. It talks all sorts about just it kind of, they write this thing as complicated as possible, so it's really hard to interpret what they're actually saying. So again, I think you have to be very careful before you make too many permanent or long-term determinations on this. So here's another clause. If we don't like this user agreement, without limiting eBay's ability to refuse, modify, or terminate all or part of our services, eBay may also terminate this agreement with anyone at any time for any reason at our sole discretion by giving notice of such termination. So, basically, yeah, they just rewrite the rules, whenever they want. Again, nothing new, frustrating, but, they're going to keep moving the playing field and make sure that's not level. It's going to be sloped to their benefit. So it's just one of those deals. I don't know. It's a lot of gobbledygook in there. What it really just comes down to, I think, for most of us, is it worth it? Right? Is just another one of those nails in the coffin. Is like, is it worth being on eBay? Okay, and they make it tough, boy. I mean, they just make it pretty miserable. The one thing that I really question and I didn't like and don't like is there's a clause in there that says, hey, we can give your sales data history information. So what I sell on eBay, for instance, they can give that to a third party. They don't specify the third party. They don't specify what they're using it for, why they would need that information. And this is pure speculation, but at some point, I'm kind of thinking here, are they going to do an Amazon thing where eBay starts selling their own branded stuff, or have a house brand, and go head to head with some of their own sellers, a la Amazon? I don't think it's going to happen in my category. The vintage collectibles, I don't know. I guess they could do it. I don't think there'd be any money there, but could they do it in bulk stuff like Amazon did with office supplies? They certainly could. I mean, there's nothing to stop them. And Amazon said for a long time, we're not going to use your sales data for our own purposes to compete against you, and then they did it anyway. So I don't know what to expect from a guy that whose crowning achievement is a space penis, but whatever. Is Amazon going to go that route? Yeah. I don't know if eBay is going to follow them or not. I don't know, but they have all our numbers, right? So eBay sees our sales, they see our listings, they know what products are hot, what their average is, what they're selling for. So why they would need to send that to somebody else? I would sure like to know why that is. And of all this stuff and this user agreement change, with the arbitration and the cars and just the general rewriting of some of the anti-fraud, don't do the end run around eBay stuff. That stuff all to me is just pretty much par for the course. But the sales thing, they kind of snuck in. I thought they didn't really expound on it a whole lot. Just this kind of really paragraph blurb that says, "Oh yeah, we have the right to sell and use your sales data." So what that's about, I don't know. I don't, and I don't know. If they're doing this like to an AI. I don't know if they're doing it to filter out like preferred dealers, and listings, who shows up at the top. But they have all that information, so I don't know why they would need that. And if we pay for promoted, they already know that, so it's boosted there. So I just don't know. To me, that's the most concerning part. I do not trust eBay with my information in any way, shape, or form on their own site. And I trust it even less that they're going to be, allowing access. Now, I don't think it's going to be posted on, I don't know. I mean, there could be a data breach or a whistleblower or something silly. But, I don't think they're going to take our sales data and just plaster it all over the internet. But I'd sure like to know why they need our permission to use that. Initial thought is they're selling it. Right? They're selling this to advertisers, they're selling it to Google, selling it to Facebook, stuff like that. So I think they are at least part of that equation of our sales data is to monetize it. I think they're selling it. And we'll have to keep an eye on this Facebook thing if that's got something to do with the Facebook ads or Google search. Or they've got something else in mind that's coming up. I don't know. But they're clearly in some way, shape, or form basically either reselling it or renting it or monetizing it would be my thought on that. But to whom and for what reasons, I don't know. I don't know. But it's a little scary when anybody from China to Russia to North Korea to your neighbor across the street from you may end up some way, shape, or form having access to this and is able to, I don't know, almost cyber stalk a seller kind of thing individually. And it's one thing, if our sales go into this big, ginormous aggregate of just a bunch of numbers, and we've got this little dot in the universe of eBay's data. It's another thing when they sell this off and they start farming it. They're looking for specific data points, whatever it is, whatever they're interested in, and they can drill down. And this thing will allow them basically to drill down everything. You know what I'm saying? They'll have full access to basically anything you're doing through eBay. So that's a little disturbing, because eBay having that access to that is a little disturbing. So let alone farming it out. Should you opt out? Again, guys, I don't know how to answer that. I probably at this stage I want to do a little more research, and if I can opt out without sacrificing my eBay store or membership or account, if I can confirm that to be valid, I am very tempted to do so, just based on this information that they're going to be able to sell my information to other people, my sales information and things. Here's the problem. Even if I do opt out, they're probably going to do it anyway. How am I going to know, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're covering the rear end. But even if I opt out, is it really going to stop this from happening? Boy, I tell you what, I don't know. I don't know how you'd even know or be able to prove it. You'd spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or more just trying to track that down, and they know this. They absolutely, positively, 100% know this. You just wish they'd go about it and say, hey, without the threatening attitude, right? Without the, you can always leave eBay and then you don't have to worry about our user agreement. I mean, come on, man. You already got us under your thumb, under your boot's been on our neck for a really, really long time, and then you kind of take this approach just to push that boot down a little harder on our throats. I don't know. It just, I'm not surprised they're protecting themselves on it. I just, I don't know. I guess I wish they'd do it with a smile on their face instead of, a smarmy grin or whatever. But honestly, I don't know. I don't have a lot of choice. Even as bad as eBay has been for basically a little over a year now, it's been pretty wretched sales-wise. Picked up just incrementally over the last week or 10 days because I ran a few auctions, but overall it's still pretty much in the toilet. And I don't know. At what point is eBay not worth it to a small seller? And to me, this just kind of pushes that a little closer to that ledge when they take this approach, especially when they're selling personal data to third parties, or business data, I should say. But I would assume personal data would be included in some of that. So I don't know. That's kind of your call. I will keep following this just as an eBay seller and eBay user. I've been on since '97. I've seen a lot of these user agreements come down the pipeline. What was the last one? Late 2023, early 2024. So it's been a little over a year since the last one, and I would expect a number of user agreements to be updated and changed and so on and so forth going forward too, as something happens they didn't account for, and then they'll rewrite it in their favor and try and cover their rears on that one too. So that's just kind of one of those life goes on corporate world deals. But at some point, especially with the tariff situation right now, the inflation situation, the uncertainty situation, job situation, at what point is eBay just pushed it too far? And I don't know. I don't know if we're close to that or not. I really don't. But at some point, it's just going to break. The system has been bending and bending and bending, the eBay system, the ecosystem. And at some point, it's, if they're not careful, it is going to snap. And then I don't know. And then I honestly don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully we're not approaching that point. I know this is very boring and kind of technical, and I apologize for that, but it does seem to be something that folks have an interest and are talking about. If you have any updates, concrete updates on this opt-out or anything else, or a link or something, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, because I would be interested myself in trying to figure out just exactly how this is supposed to work on this opt-out, and if it's possible to do it without giving up your account. So that's it. That's all I've got for now, guys. I promise I'll try and do some more fun videos. I'll get into some of Corey's list there. I haven't done any for a while, and I still got at least 3 of the 3.5 pages to go. So I'll find some fun topics, and we'll talk on that next time. Anyway, check out our other videos and podcasts, and thanks for watching.